Hello and welcome to the Heart of the Matter. My name is Abisoye.
And I'm Dikwa Ayo Adeosi.
Yes, and today we're here with an amazing documentary photographer. He calls himself Sir Inyene.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
So is that how to say? Is that how to say your name? Could you pronounce your name?
The full pronunciation is Inyene.
Inyene.
Inyene Godwin Akpan. But
Yes.
you know, people I grew up, friends calling me Inyene.
Okay, Inyene.
Inyene, and Inyene just means good wealth. Inyene means wealth.
Oh,
So
okay.
Inyene just
I
it's
love
good
it.
wealth.
Good
Yeah.
wealth. It's quite a
Right.
distinction. Good wealth.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but now as a photographer, your brand or people know you as Sir Inyene.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did that name come about?
At the point in my life, I started a Twitter session. Not really because I really wanted to start something, but the time a friend of mine in church just told me, this is your post on Facebook, on social media. You should organize it and start something like setting it right with Inyene. And I was like, repeat what you just said. And he said, setting it right with Inyene now. And that was how this setting it right.
Setting it right.
Oh, right.
Wow, that is so
So
brilliant.
yeah, I started a
Right,
Twitter session where I talk about literally everything, life, business, relations, just everything. I just express myself on Twitter. That was where this Inyene. So people don't know me as Sir Inyene then. So when I started photography, I was like, this is a name that's already known, so let me just go with it and everything. Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
actually SIR. I was like, you're not that old. But I mean, the prestige of Sir, I guess.
I guess was, yeah.
That's good. Okay, so I guess I'm going to backtrack a bit. Now we know you as a documentary photographer. We're going to get into that soon. But now we want to find out how that started, like your childhood and growing up. So before photography came in, what was your childhood like? What was your journey, your background?
Growing up was very, very challenging. So grew up in a very, very rough place in Lagos State. I don't know if any of you will know Sarigomo, Orile.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like the backyard of Ajegule and everything. Yeah, so that was where we were born and brought up. 4 kids, 1-room apartment, face me and face you and everything. But it was fun for me because I just like playing. I don't always be in the house. But the funny thing was, I always know when lunch is ready. I will always come back like almost 5 minutes before my mom will finish. My mom like, who even inform you? And after the lunch, I will just disappear and everything. I will come back home in the evening. They'll have to force me to take my breath because I will feel so tired, exhausted and everything. And growing up was not easy, but I thank God for my parents because though there was nothing, but they gave everything. And we went to the best of private schools in that environment.
Wow.
Best of private school. It wasn't that we went there like for my jazz. I started, from my primary school, I used to be dyslexic. I find it hard to read, write, so many things, and I can still remember vividly after the close of hours, I will be the only one in class still writing from the board. And my sisters will come, write fast, now let's go, right? I can still remember my sisters, my parents, making use of the door in that 1-room apartment as my board and everything. And it was amazing, but at the same time, it was not funny. So because of the financial constraints, my 2 sisters, they're just 1 to just 3, they went to a public school, Sulori Secondary School, SSS. But from the SS1, my parents had to move them to the best private school in the environment, believe me, Starlight College. Moved them. But for me, I didn't have the opportunity to go to a private school or to go to a public school during my JS1 and JS3. I attended tutorial
Okay. So you attended tutorials for 3 years?
for 3 years.
Wow.
At the point, I even had to stop because that was the year they gave birth to my brother. And my mom used to work, with a factory in the laundry department, and they gave her only 3 months to stay with the baby, and we need the money. So I had to stop a year to be with my younger brother.
So you were raising your younger
I
brother?
raised my younger brother. I learned how to back, put him in my back. Thank God for one of our neighbors. Like, she really assisted me. It was fun for me, but at the same time, it was one of the, like, I miss my, I love to play.
Your
So
childhood.
the little time he would just sleep, I would just disappear. There are times I will go back home, my brother has rolled from the bed and I've seen him on the floor. Like, believe me, it has happened. And there were even times, because one-room apartment, believe me, we put our pot under the bed.
Of course.
There was a day he rolled, thank God, he rolled and fell, the pot opened, but his head was not inside the pot. That was like, I was like, God, thank God. So imagine if the pot was open, his head inside the pot, what would have happened and everything. So yeah.
just you said this story is just so, it's much.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Because you hear about it a lot, but I don't think I necessarily meet a lot of people who live the actual reality, And I think when people think about one bedroom, because when you say one bedroom to someone in this time, literally, what do you think about is a kitchen, a sitting room, a bedroom, but like a one
room.
like when we say one space,
we cook outside.
yeah, everything is in that same one area. But when you said you went in school between just 1 to 3, was that because of financial constraints, or was that because of the dyslexia?
No, it was prior to that time. I never knew I was dyslexic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You just realized
because
you had difficulty, but you didn't know what it was.
My
Okay.
sisters were sound. If they fail, in quotes, that's they took second or third.
Wow.
That's if they failed. And for me, if I pass, I might be the 14th person in the class or the 15th person in the class. And
I get that.
so at the point I was like, am I really their sisters or their brother? And like, because I was so different from them, academic wise, behavioral, they are this indoor kind of person, I'm this outdoor. So, but thought like that, went through my mind as a child. Then, am I really their brother, same blood and everything? Even, okay, I went to a tutorial doing my JS1 to JS3. During my SS1, my parents, made it possible for me to still go to same school my sisters finished from. And they made outstanding result there. My elder sister was the best mathematician, represented the school during cowbell competitions and everything. Like, she was the number 1 when it comes to mathematics. And my other sisters, our WAEC result was the best. But there was something I was good at right from while I was growing up, mathematics.
Wow.
My dad would tell me, go and read. I would just take, and it got to a point, he said, don't take your maths textbook, don't bring anything. Just go and read your English, just read anything.
And it makes sense, because you've been dyslexic, you know. Yeah, you can't
I was
read,
so
but
good
you
in
can
math.
numbers.
So I told myself, since you're good in mathematics, why don't you go into engineering? So I went to science class with the mindset of doing engineering and everything. And I started picking up. I was the lowest, like I said, in my chemistry exam. SS2, I went back to my chemistry textbook. I started reading from the content. Like, I started, balancing equations we did SS1. I don't know even if it was a science then.
Yeah.
Like, I started, I just went back, but I got to understand those little things that I was having challenges with and everything. So fast forward to doing our mock exams, I was one of the best.
That's in SS3 now.
Yeah, SS3.
Okay.
I was one of the best, and my position then was 4th.
Wow.
Like, it shook everybody in school. Imagine me coming from 15 or so, and not even 10th or even 8th. And I got, to that position. And another thing was, during that period, my parents instilled this fear on me. Like, if you fail your WAEC, you can hustle money. This money and funny enough, during our WAEC period, my parents did something that surprised me. Came to school and paid all my money. outstanding and everything. Because there was a point my mom would drop a wrapper in school as school lecturer. You know, women don't joke with their wrapper. I'll land this and everything just to drop so that they will allow us to write exam. But at that period, I think the money was almost 30-something K. But that was a huge money then. My parents paid that money at once. And I was like, wow, that means these guys are really...
Yeah, they're supporting.
They just want me
fully.
to just pass and everything. I didn't make the A's and everything, but I cleared all my papers. My papers was the B and C's and everything. And my 2 best subjects with the best result was further maths and physics.
But before we move into after WAEC and the careers and everything, but I want to know more about that. What came from being dyslexic, your challenges, and how that transitioned into doing so well in WAEC, and then moving forward, what changed. But before that, we're going to take a quick break. Just hold on and we'll be right back.
All right.
I could feel myself falling, like saying, bro, you're falling. Wow, you're falling. This guy, you are actually falling down, oh. This stuff that you see on TV is happening to you. Ah, God is real.
Who are you?
Why are you black?
Welcome to the heart of the matter.
The whole world was looking for me.
She called me, she's like, oh my God, Ines, it's God that brought you back. And I just dropped to the floor.
I'm going to dive right into the heart of the matter.
What are your thoughts on Canada? My thoughts on Canada? Yeah.
Real random.
I'm really so excited today.
Just a tad. Very passionate about leveling the playing field. Listening is not the only aspect of communication.
I believe that the solution is from the bottom up. If you don't talk now, you talk later.
There's glory. There's glory.
So let's break it down.
Welcome back to Heart of the Matter. If you're just joining us, my name is Dikwa Adeosi, and and we're talking to Sir Inyene.
Yeah, thank you.
You had the
Pleasure.
most interesting just background and just blowing my mind. And before we went on the break, you were talking about how you had this amazing transition from your school experience generally to writing your work and being dyslexic.
So from reading about dyslexia and then learning more about this thing was struggling with and moving forward till now with WAEC doing so well, and then afterwards, how was that transition for you?
Yeah, it was a lone path because I couldn't even tell my parents that, okay, this was it and everything. But I had to take everything myself, research and everything. So when it all happened, like I said, that mentality part was really key for me because I got to break hold of that. And prior to that time, I was still a Christian, but I was not a Christian. I will explain because I was going to church, but there was no relationship with God. Sunday morning, my mom would just take us to church and everything. And I will say my mom, because at the point my dad stopped going to church. And that happened because my dad used to be so involved in church that he was even the secretary of that church. And he saw some things and he opted that we were like, all churches are the same, all churches are business. So Sunday morning, my dad won't stop her from going to church. My mom would just take us to church, a different church, but my dad just equate all churches as the same and everything. Think of my sister, my elder sister, she literally liberated our family, spiritually and even physically. So because still in that one-room apartment, my sister would wake up at the middle of the night, speaking in tongues. Like I said, I was a Christian, but I hated it. I was like, this girl no say people they sleep for this house. Why must you disturb our rest and everything? But she wake up in the middle of the night speaking in tongues, doing some set of things that I was like, what is she doing and everything? But never knowing she was fighting some spiritual battles we never even thought about and all that. Like I said, my dad wasn't really a Christian, so I struggled a lot with my belief system because I was like, if God really exists, who created God? As a child.
Wow, that's such a profound question.
Because nothing can just come up like that. See, I struggled with that belief that SS1, SS2, there was this girl, Doris, in our class. During break time, she would just go around to preach. She did not meet me because I'll ask her questions, she can't even answer. So that was my struggle then. So when, my friends started calling me, congratulations, I heard your WAEC result was great. The next thing I would tell them, now God do. They're like, you need repeat it again. They were surprised because they know,
So
like.
that just makes me think, and I think we always have the same question on our minds. So, from realizing, hearing about dyslexia, doing research, realizing that, well, this seems to be the same kind of thing I'm experiencing, and understanding that that's what was going on with you, and then taking hold of your situation and saying, I'm going to make the best out of it. But in the midst of that, having a crisis of faith, but then you transition to this place of Nagodo. So I mean, it's clear that I feel like God almost used the dyslexia and understanding it to kind of draw you in to just be more open to Him, because obviously now toward the end of that journey you are becoming a bit more open to Him. But how has that fueled sort of like the rest of what you do, because now you're so accomplished?
Right. And it's in that place of uncertainty. How did photography, and you're doing so much with that, so how did that transition happen now that with faith and all that in place?
Okay, I will just try to be brief. I got into admission studying pharmacy, and right from my under level I started having issues with some cohorts in school, and it was normal, like they must approach you, but it's all, but 100 level, 200 level, 300 level, going to 400 level, it was very serious and life-threatening, that I have to leave the school with the mindset of transferring to Unilag.
Okay.
And it didn't really work out because of the two different syllables. Unilag was BSc Pharmacy, Uniben was PharmD. So and Unilag was 5 years, Uniben was 6 years. So that was how I found myself home again. And God literally, what I normally put is that God literally brought me down, brought that building down. I was like, you know what? Allow me to build now. That was the worst phase of my life, in quotes. But now I can say it's the best phase of my life. Because I got back home, was it suicidal thoughts? I had those thoughts. I started doing some sort of things that my sister, like I said, she did nothing. She was like, you need to see a psychiatrist. I said, I'm not going, I'm not mad, I'm not going. But she was seeing some symptoms that some people were like, you need to go for deliverance. I said, I don't need deliverance. When at that point, I knew I needed something more. But I can't really place my hand on that thing. I can say I need a phone. Now I'm seeing this phone. But at that time, I know I need something. But I can't place my hand on that thing. So I think we're all going to get to that phase in life where we know that, yes, and there was this song that was kind of the song of the season for me. There's gonna be more than this. I just know life was more than what I was experiencing then. And there was this morning I woke up, I read the book of, I can't remember the Bible verse or everything, but one of the prayer points I picked out for was, God, open my ears, open my eyes to see more and everything. And funny enough, that evening I was listening to a radio program, and there was this lady, Mommy Ronke Balogun, I won't forget her. She had a radio program, she came online, and that same prayer point, she made that same prayer point that evening. I was like, this can't be a mistake. Funny enough, she shared a number that evening. I copied it. I called her the next day. I shared my experience with her that, man, Mom, I found myself home, and something like that. And she just encouraged me. She built she helped me to build my faith at that period. I was like, you know what? Just trust God. Just trust God. Okay, prior to that time, I needed to, just allow my mom to because prior to that time, a year ago, we lost our dad. And I will even talk about it because, I said prior to that time, my dad was not going to church. I was in school then when my sister called me, and guess what? Dad is now going to church, not just anyhow church, Mountain of Fire. Wow. That I will come back home during holiday, my dad will be evangelized to me. Let's go to my house. I don't want to go to Mountain of Fire. But, my dad was dragging me to church. And my dad didn't go back to church. He went back to Christ. Because I wake up early in the morning, see my dad reading his Bible. I think that also spoke a whole lot of things to me. Like God is real. God is real. Because I do tell people that, see, if you follow the people in church, they'll block you from following Christ. So you'd rather follow Christ, and you can even convert those people to follow Christ with you.
There's
that
just
was
so much.
so when my
There's so
sister
much.
called me it was amazing. So I was still in school when my dad died, and she called me. Dad has gone to be with the Lord. And prior to that time, my dad has called me to come and see him in the hospital. Some years before that time, he was diagnosed of diabetics, and he had a wound in one of his legs, and it was spreading. It wasn't even healing and everything. It was so worse that they had to amputate that leg. So for some years, my dad was, on crutches and artificial legs and everything. So until when he was diagnosed again and they realized that it was cancer of the pancreas. I know pancreas as a pharmacy. I have an idea that pancreas produces insulin, and insulin controls the blood sugar level. So that was the issue then, but they didn't realize it then. So prior to that time, it had already spread to his liver. He already knew that he was going to die. So he called me. I was in school, but come and see me in the hospital. That was Luth. So I went there. I spent some days with him, and my dad spoke a whole lot of things with like man to man. I was not really close like that to my dad. My sisters were close, because my dad if you want to get my dad hard, just be sound academic-wise. So, and when you meet my dad, you're like, let's talk about the news. I don't listen to news. So I would let me just give him his space. But that period, we shared hearts together, and it was like, I'm not sure I'm going to live long. Take care of her mom, take care of her brother, take care of her sisters. I'm proud that I grew up hearing my dad telling us that he might die anytime. My dad just likes saying that, he can. Subconsciously, he was just building that we should not focus on him.
I see.
And so while he was telling me there, I knew something was going to happen. But at the same time, I was like, now today we hear him. But he went that far to saying, you know what, you guys shouldn't take me to the village. I don't want to stress you guys, and I don't want anybody to trouble your mom. If anything happens, do everything in Lagos. My sisters were less than 25 then. I was not up to 20. My dad died when I was 19. So he didn't just want to stress us. He was like, do everything here in Lagos. So a few weeks later, my sister called that Dad had gone to be with the Lord. And the next thing that came to my mind was, thank God. Dad knew God before he left. I was at peace because I was expecting it. Because at the point, he refused to take his drugs. And my sister was like, call Daddy. I said, I'm not calling him. You guys should leave this man. So
I feel like you got to a place of peace with him where he went to be with the Lord.
Exactly.
But I want to know, how did he inspire you? I know with your dad and into photography, so we don't have that much time, but briefly just talk about your journey in photography. Photography as a social good.
Okay.
The projects you've been involved in, and then we'll go to what's next.
Photography for me started, I grew up having two amazing elder sisters, so I was literally the official photographer in the house. So they would give me their phone, take me pictures, and I would literally take them like 100 pictures, and they would delete 99, leaving only one. And you're a lady, you can relate. And they'll have good reasons for deleting 99. They say, my leg was bent this way. Never knowing I was learning perspective subconsciously. And I so much love photograph that if I see a bad photograph, even if it's not my own, it kind of hurts me. Or like, even if this person is doing it for me for free, I won't take this. So I was so much into photography that like 4 years ago, when my sister said, why don't you go into photography? Immediately I shut that down. I was like, no, I'm not doing. So you expect me to be carrying camera up and down, right? And I said that not really because I didn't like photography, but I was running away from the truth. First, I was like, the industry is just populated. How many jobs I would do to buy camera? When I will blow, in quotes, as a photographer. How many photographers do I even know that are doing well? So that was why I told her no. And a few years later, that's 2 years ago, I started using my phone, my smartphone. Anywhere I go, I would just take pictures. Imagine I'm in the studio, I would take pictures with my smartphone, and I'll post it online, indicating that I'm not a photographer. It was shot with a smartphone. And there was this particular picture I took of that CMS Cathedral. I was coming from my optometry. I went to get my lenses and everything. And I just saw, a warm afternoon, nice perspective. I took that picture, like that church, like 360 angles and everything. And I posted 2 online, and that picture literally went viral. I shot that picture of my smartphone, and the model of the company that manufactured that phone even shared that picture on their page, on their Instagram page.
So you came from a point where you were not calling yourself a photographer.
No.
And now I would say you are an award. You have won awards.
Yeah.
And then you started Photo Waka Africa, which also won awards. Can you talk about that as well?
Okay. Someone, probably during that period, someone I was literally praying to meet. His wife called me like, you know what, my husband would like to see you. And I'm like, what do you say, ma? And never knowing, this man stumbled on my pictures and went to my page, and he's not a photographer, but he's an artist. Uncle Shego Abiona is the founder of the Nicole and Giovanni socks brand and brands in general. So he called me, invited me to his house. I was like, what you are taking for granted, people go to school to learn your perspective, how you tell stories with your pictures. That was even when I know that my kind of picture was documentary. So he literally forced me, believe me, this Inyene page people know about now. I created it because me no blessing, I'm too stubborn. Because he told me, you need to create a separate Instagram page for your pictures. 3 days later, he called me, have you created your Instagram page? I said no. So I was like, Inyene, just do this. And that was how I did that. And I started posting on the page, and that love, that passion for photography started. That was in 2017. And within that time, I got to, I did a whole lot of research about photography, and I limited myself. And like, why I did that was, even browsing the cost of a camera would discourage you from going to photography. Believe me, they're very, very expensive gadget and everything. So I was like, let me just limit myself.
You mean to documentary photography or?
No, I wanted to limit myself with just tag myself as a phone photographer. Right.
So now I've gotten to this point where you're not using just phone, you're using a camera, and you've won all these awards. I know you won the My Canon award.
Yeah.
You recently won the 25 under 25, and Photo Waka also beat a Guinness Book of Records for Photo Walk. So now for you, what's next moving forward?
I just believe that there's more. There's more, because in as much as God has given us this privilege to be seen or to be recognized for what we do, maybe what I do personally, what I do with Photo Waka and with photography, I believe this is just the beginning, because there's this picture, this scenario God played to me sometimes last year, and that's what I normally tell people. I'm like, I don't really think I've started. That God has just plugged me. Imagine a laptop. I'm the laptop. God just plugged. What is happening now is that God just plugged me to the source. That they even switch me on. Like when God pressed that on button, the world will know.
I love it.
For good. So I'm not even booting now.
So
I'm just connected to the source.
You're still getting.
And that was how I just see, the
There's
plans, the future.
I feel like there's just so much of your story that we can keep on going on about, and with photography and social good and what you've done so far. And I think it's been an amazing conversation.
Yeah, I've particularly loved the fact that you've been able to find your faith through all of the struggles, find the areas where you knew that you felt God and how he's been leading you. And I just particularly love the story with your dad and finding his way back to Christ and all of that. And I love how that inspired your photography.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say we're excited for what's next for you, for Photo Waka photography. Thank you so much for joining us once again. I'm Abisoye.
And my name is Dikbaye Adeosi. And just to remind you guys, you can follow us on social media at Instagram or on Facebook at HOTM TV, and also on YouTube, HOTM channel. Until next time, guys, my name is Dikbaye. Bye.